This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Fashion Bunker. This is my perfume shrine where I talk about perfumes, and today I will be talking to you about my top 10 winter fragrances. We're in the middle of winter right now, and there are tendencies. I veer towards certain perfumes more than others. So let's get to it. Subscribe to my channel first and foremost if you haven't already. And thank you to all those who have already subscribed. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together. My Patreon channel or my Patreon profile helps keep all my YouTube channels alive. So thank you guys so much for doing so. I am filming this video live in front of a virtual audience, and I have my co-chatters in the chats. Let me see if you guys can guess some of the perfumes in the chats, but also if you can guess one of the 10 perfumes in the chats, but also let me know what your winter fragrances are. So I'm going to start with the first one, which is coincidentally also one of my top 5 perfumes for the month of January of this year, of 2022, and that would be LouLou. Matches perfectly the background right now. So we got LouLou from Cacharel, the Eau de Parfum version. This is a miracle of a fragrance, and I do love the current formulation. Believe it or not, I know that reformulations are always like iffy, and it doesn't always work out for the best. It does work for me and LouLou. We have a love affair. I do prefer the current formulation to the 80s formulation. I just love it so much. And in the middle of winter, what I have realized with me, the tiara or the tiara flower blossoms in a way that you don't smell that in summer. It really, really works in winter. What a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Cacharel, you did good by this one. And speaking of the tiara flower, I'm going to get to perfume number 2, which is connected to perfume number 1. It's Addict by Christian Dior in the Eau de Parfum concentration. Now, I have here the 2014 formulation, so I haven't smelled the current version of it. Let's hope that Mr. Francis Kurjan fixes it in case it was butchered. And it really, in winter, you realize how similar these two are, because the tiara flower, the queen of the night, is also in here. They have this tiara flower that kind of bonds them together. There's a similarity there, even though this one is a bit juicier, a little bit more citrusy, zesty, juicy. It's like a juicy version of a tuberose, and this one is resinous, deep, and vanillic. It's a vanillic bomb. Oh man, this thing is good. So these two really are those kind of shades of blue from light to dark. These are my queens of the night, you guys, hands down. This is number 2. In winter, it warms the spirit, but it keeps you also zesty. It doesn't allow you to go lethargic. In winter you tend to go more like, winter sleep. These two cradle and cuddle you, but they don't allow you to go too lethargic. Then the next one is a new addition to the family. It is the Chanel number 1 L'Eau Rouge. It's a great pick-me-up. And actually, you can spray it anywhere really, and it lasts a really short amount of time. It's not there. It's meant to be a zesty moment in time that disappears really quickly. But for that moment that it lasts, it's magical. And I do think that if I had this around me the whole day, I would be annoyed by it. So it works that the longevity is so subtle. It's a magical boost of red, and I don't like red berries. Usually when perfumers do red berries, Rouge Trafalgar, Dior, I'm looking at ya. Oof. It usually doesn't work. But Chanel does a berry justice. Tones it down. It never turns sweet. Even though we do have, iris isn't sweet, but we got the rose, we got the jasmine in here, we got the musk. Pardon me. And we got the citrusy opening and the berries, the red berries. And It's never sweet. It never goes into that candy department that a lot of berry perfumes go into. This thing stays dry as a mofo, but invigorating. Oh, just love it. It's wonderful for winter. It gives you, when the days get really short and you tend to kind of get depressed, if you like the sun, I don't care for the sun. I love the night. So for me, winter is like a happy moment. But this thing gets you out of that dark spot. So that's number three. Number four is another Dior, you best believe, Eau Noire. Now this one is really good when it gets really cold. And it's also amazing in summer, but in winter, this one has a tendency of closing itself. It shuts itself, it barricades itself inside of this burned down Baroque mansion surrounded by dried lavender, licorice, and the smell of smoke emanating from the dark woods that have burned in this mansion. And you're locked inside that mansion, and it's kind of weirdly warm. It's also cold because the mansion is kind of run down, but oh my gosh. Ah, it is like a caramelized version of a smoky, sagey lavender and licorice with a ton of burnt woods at the bottom of it. It's a vision in the middle of winter. It's a nightmare in winter. But it's such a cinematographic vision. This perfume is just wonderful. I really hope that Dior will never discontinue it. But since Francis Kurkdjian has become finally creative perfume director of Dior, and he created this perfume back in the early 2000s as a cologne. But now that he's back, I'm sure that Eau Noire will be given a little bit more respect than it did before because Demachy hated it. I do believe that Demachy just wanted to get rid of it. And he did manage to get rid of it for a second. But then, due to popular demand, it was taken back into the assortment. But it was kind of secluded like Cinderella. It was like Demachy was the evil stepsister. And he put Cinderella, in the corner. And like, yeah, let's try to kill it off by not making it easily available to people. Well, Cinderella's redemption has come as Kurkdjian takes over after Demachy finally left or leaves Dior. Let's see what's going to happen to Eau Noire now that Kurkdjian is at the helm of Dior. Love this one to bits. The next one is a Chanel perfume. And, well, this one is really fascinating. Misia. This is the Eau de Toilette concentration. Les Exclusives Media Eau de Toilette that has been discontinued. So we only have Dior Parfum nowadays, and it's not a bestseller. So who knows how long this one is going to stay in production. Okay, the reason why this is a great winter fragrance because it has that red tone in it. Like the whole idea of Misia, she was a redhead, a friend of Coco Chanel, Coco's frenemy. And she was a muse to many, many artists during her time. And so this perfume is like this titillating, electrifying red, concept of red with iris in it, raspberries, violets. This is a violet bomb, but it's a Chanel violet. This is not a flowery, sweet, springy smell. This is a sharp, dry, full with character violet. Raspberry violet iris concoction that never goes sweet. It stays austere, but pungently electric. So this is, again, one of those perfumes that in winter helps me. It kicks me out of my lethargic state of mind. It's just so beautiful. It's poetic. It's nostalgic to just the right degree. Like winter can be sometimes nostalgic, when we're kind of, gathering our thoughts, thinking, how life is, how it should be, what we could have done better or worse. That's what this one is. It is just that fabulous. Then here comes another Dior our way, and this would be Dior Homme, the original. Dior Homme original. This as close as possible to the OG, right, from the early 2000s that Olivier Polge created for Dior. This is the current version. Well, I got this, what, a year ago now? This is the current version available, and it is a eau de toilette. I know it's only available online and only in France, and it's super hard to get. Again, this one was secluded to anonymity by Demachi because he wanted to poop on the parade of Dior and he wanted to make his version of Dior, which I just no. When you go, you go, you go. It got to go. Don't do it. So this is a masterpiece. The new Dior girl, no. This brings back fond memories of the early 2000s and when it was also safe to go out and party, and this was my party perfume, and sweating in cold clubs, dark, dimmed lights, and you're just like moving around and warming yourself up also because of all the other bodies surrounding you, warming it all up. It's a heat from within that this reminds me of. So for sure, this is a winter fragrance because you feel lonely, you put this on, you ain't lonely no mo. Let me just tell you that. So this thing is amazing for that reason, for that specific reason. The next one is another Chanel. And of course it has to be Le Lion de Chanel because this thing is a freaking masterpiece. I have here the 75 ml bottle today, but usually I use the 200 ml. This is just for travel, which who's traveling? Nobody. Oh my gosh. Oh man. This one is just a masterpiece. I mean, it's more special in summer because it's unexpected, something this heavy to wear it in summer. It becomes a wonderful masterpiece. In winter, this one does tend to shut itself down. Unlike Eau Noire, this one kind of it's so fascinating. In summer, it blossoms, okay? Not as a flower would, but usually it unveils more of its nuances of labdanum and hay and incense and the floral aspect is there as well. While in winter, it smells like a winter fragrance. Like it dries down. Like in winter, all of nature is sleeping, and all we get to smell is the dry hay, the dirty, dry hay in the barnyard. With the air is frozen around it, so you come really close to that hay, and you know the smell of frozen hay or really cold hay. In winter, that's how it smells, and then in summer, it smells all completely different. So this thing is just, it's a poetry, really. It's a poem. It's a poem in a bottle, and what a daring perfume to make something like this. Like it was released like last year, right? Uh, or was it released in 2020 at this point? Oh my God, time just flies so quickly. We don't even know any. No, 2020. Yeah, it was released in November. Well, March in the Emirates, right? But November, the rest of the world of 2020. So I it's such a daring perfume because it doesn't smell like what we are used to from modern day releases. It has its own character. It goes against the tendencies of perfumery today. I know Chanel was targeting it towards the Middle East, but for European or American standards, this thing is groundbreaking because no perfume released in the past years smells of this. It smells of past times, but then that hay in it, man, it hits the spot. Wonderful perfume for winter. So this is one of my top 10 for winter. The next one is another Dior. Yeah, I know I'm like everything's Dior, right? But oh man, okay. Bois d'Argent in its eau de parfum concentration. This thing is amazing. This one is just so sophisticated, so beautiful. Also, just like Eau Noire, this is one of the original trio of the first three released in the Collection Privée range. The third one being Cologne Blanche, which has been discontinued since. But the first three were Cologne Blanche, Bois d'Argent, and Eau Noire. And Bois d'Argent is a silver needle forest, frozen needles, but imbued in honey and iris and kind of an orris rooty vibe. Oh man, this stuff is really, really, really special. Uh, it also brings back really fond memories, you know, from the same time, early 2000s, just like Eau Noire and just like Dior Homme. It has a very, very specific smell, typical to the niche fragrances of the early 2000s. And it was the early 2000s were a very, very fascinating time for fragrances, especially Dior, because also from the early 2000s we get this masterpiece here, Addict. So Diorama also comes from the same time. I guess I like these perfumes also very much in winter because they come from a time where my life was much more dynamic and different than it is today, more uncertain. But that uncertainty that I had back then was also tantalizing. I felt alive back then because it was a struggle. Every day was such a struggle, but it was wonderful. I don't know. I felt so alive back then. Not that I don't feel alive now, but so anyway, these I feel alive now as well. Don't get me wrong. It's just a different vibe, you know. And so these four Dior's, Addict, Diorama, Eau Noire, and Bois d'Argent, I like them in winter because when I smell them, not only do they smell warm in a certain way, but they also smell of a time that I survived. So they make me feel good because they make me feel like I can survive anything. I can go through anything and I'll be fine. And that's why when it's really cold and wintry and lonely outside, these perfumes get me through the day. Right. So the next one is is a Guerlain and it is Liu. So is it gonna focus? There it is. Liu. The current version of Liu, the eau de parfum concentration of Guerlain's Liu. It is Guerlain's dupe, the dupe. Why am I confused about dupe or dupe? Well, anyway, it's Guerlain's take on Chanel number 5. I have reviewed this one, so you know all the details on its history and how the whole game was played between Chanel and Guerlain about copying each other. All of that is explained in my video on in my review video of Liu. But I particularly love this one in the depths of winter because even though it does have that Chanel number 5 opening and heart, at its core, it dries down to an oak mossy vanilla that is typical to Guerlain. And it's actually, I want to say, more abstract than Chanel number 5. You know, Chanel number 5 is a famous abstraction fragrance. But this one delivers so much cold air in the opening, but then that vanilla at the bottom twists the whole thing around and really surprises you. Chanel number 5 also has vanilla, but it's not the Guerlain vanilla. And this is amazing. This and it's almost like it has a smoky, also hay tone and a tobacco. It almost has like a tobacco leather note in there, which makes it quite different to Chanel number 5 at the end of the day if you really smell into it. And in winter months, it gets more of that leather accord popping out in it. And it makes Liu very, very beautiful in the crystalline cold months of the year. So this is very much a beautiful winter fragrance, a sparkling snowflake type of crystal fragrance. Really, really, really beautiful. Guerlain rendered the idea of snow much better than actually Ernest Beau did with Chanel number 5, because one of Ernest Beau's ideas for Chanel number 5 was to make it smell of snow. Um, and it gets there. You kind of feel it. But Chanel number 5 presses more the jasmine and the rose. Here we get more the cold. Here we do smell out the ice crystals. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Liu is very wintry and very, very nostalgic and poetic and heartbreaking in many ways and also heartwarming. And the last one, well, Chanel needs a redemption after Guerlain takes over the number 5. Well, what do we have? Another Chanel in winter. Our little monolith bottle, Chanel Coco, and of course, fingerprint magnet. Come on, Coco. Really? Are you going to do us that dirty? Hold on. Let me highly polish you, Coco. There you go. We get Coco, polished, not really, still a fingerprint magnet. Coco, Eau de Parfum. I love the monolith refillable bottle or rechargeable bottle. So you can kind of open it at the bottom here, and then you pull out the bottle. What a beautiful 80s concoction. What can we say about Coco? You smell Coco and you are really in the 80s. Yeah, the shoulder pads are there. You turn on Dynasty or Dallas and you are in this bubble of illusions. And the illusions are fabulous. It smells of huge nails with wonderful skin-toned nail polish, sometimes altered with flashy red nail polish. A lot of lipstick and lip gloss. Black Chanel dress, but huge shoulder pads. And a jumbo Chanel, back in the day, single flap. Ginormous jumbo, timeless classic with the chunky gold, just like this yellow gold. This intense yellow gold that almost looks black, how yellow it is. This is the Chanel yellow gold, okay? Look how black it turns when no light is reflecting on it. And then it can go even white if it, oh, look at that shine. Coco is such a character. Such a character. And in winter, it gets you through the day. It is such a boost. It's almost like you're drinking a cocktail, smoking a cigarette, sitting on a suede sofa, almost like Coco's sofa in 31 Rue Cambon. That beige suede that just is heavy but feels just right when you sit into it, you fall into it, you're embraced by it. And the Coromandel panels surrounding you, obviously. This kind of monolith bottle is supposed to be an abstraction of the Coromandel panels as well. So, of course, this one in winter is just mind-blowing because it's like a symphony which sustains itself because it's cold outside. It keeps it tight, but that word that we're not allowed to say anymore in perfumery apparently today, oriental. Succinct, sustained, but vicariously oriental. Those would be my top 10 perfumes for the season of winter 2022 in particular. This year, these are my needs. So let me get to your comments. Let's see what y'all's got to say. Aperol Spritz says, I bought Coco just for that bottle design. You also got the monolith bottle. Yeah, it's beautiful. This thing is just so beautiful in this bottle. Tyler says, it's so sad they don't do gold like that on bags anymore. Whenever it's yellow gold, it's matte finish, and whenever it's shiny, it's champagne. Well, no, they're transitioning back to really yellow gold, especially in the costume jewelry. I have purchased from the fall winter collection a couple of costume jewelry pieces, 24 karat gold plated, as yellow as it gets. It hurts to look at them how yellow they are. So they are working on stuff. They are working on stuff. Debbie says, I don't see Chanel number 5 and Snow. Once you kind of read about it, and once you read about the ideas that Ernest Beau had about that perfume, and then you re-smell it, the pure perfume, and eau de toilette, not the other concentrations. When you smell the pure perfume and the eau de toilette, you can envision Snow, but not as much as in here. This thing, winter. Gorgeous. Tyler says, I love Dior Addict. My mom wore it a lot growing up. She worked the counter for Dior during my youth. Oh, fabulous. Although her favorite was Miss Dior Cherie. She was broken when they discontinued it. Yeah, they messed up Miss Dior in general. Like they keep tweaking it, changing it, bringing it back, making it smell different. What a mess. What a mess. Yeah, Jesus says new Diorama is a flop. I hope it gets discontinued. Jesus also says I oversprayed Lilian today, and people were giving me weird looks. Um, yeah, of course they would. I mean, if you kind of like what's overspraying like 30 sprays, yeah, you're going to suffocate people around you. But why not? I mean, in the lockdown times we live in, you want people to stay away from you. So you wear your mask and you overspray the perfume so they don't come too close because the perfume is too intense. And I also give them the nasty look like, don't come close to me. I'm crazy. Oh, Paige D, thank you for becoming a member. Or wait, Paige, or did you renew the membership? Oh, Paige D, welcome to Tier 1. Hold on, dear. Let's pop your cherry. So if you become a member or doing a super chat or donation, you get the super Dacob cherry popping moment. You get the gold one here. Here goes, Paige. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Woo! We love popping a cherry. And my magic brew is smoking out of the super Dacob perfume bunker. Thank you, Paige, for becoming a member. Woo! Yay! Okay. Back to the top. Ah, Dondism has become a member too. Dondism has been a member for 11 months and renewed the membership in Tier 1. This channel is therapy. Thank you so much, Dondism. So sweet of you for renewing the membership. And for that, I will pop your cherry too. You get a silver platinum cherry with a gold circle. Here you go, sweetie. Oh my gosh. This one isn't working, you guys. Holy. Okay, this one was intense. It. Oh my god, you guys, wait. It literally flew here, all the way to the front, almost into the camera. Wow, thank you guys so much. Debbie says, you'll shoot your eyes out. No, I won't, darling. I'll twist them, turn them in different directions. Oh, that's a good question, Coco Kitty CC. Do you like any fragrance with oud? I'm so done with oud. But if I would have to choose, I really, back in 2012, when it was released, I loved it. Now I kind of don't use it anymore because oud really annoys me. But Oud Ispahan, or Isfahan, by Dior. The first formulation that came out in 2012. That's the bottle I got, and it's 250 ml. I still have half the bottle. It's the only oud that I really kind of enjoy because of the rose added to it. No, I was looking if I would have it here right. No, it's in the other room. But so since 2012, so it's 10 years old this year. It's turned like this lusciously ambery red color. You know that Oud Ispahan is actually a pinky liquid, but if it's 10 years old, it turns into this gorgeously almost red, like pink red ambery color. So Oud Ispahan would be the only oud that I would that comes to mind off the tip of my kind of head and tongue that I would say. But otherwise, no, I don't like oud fragrances. That they're overdone. Julie Son says, "Oh, I love tobacco vanilla. I'll have to try this. Tobacco vanilla. Which one? Oh, Addict. You have to try Addict, but the Eau de Parfum, not the Eau de Toilette. And that's, oh, yeah, that's, I can't really see the comments. Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah, we got that one. Uh, oh, here, Shop Queen says, Misia is my favorite Chanel, and it is perfect lipstick violet. Yeah, it does have a lipstick violet. Vanessa says, Eau Noire, love it, thanks. Yeah, yeah. Coco Chanel said, did someone say Misia? Yes, Coco, we're talking about your frenemy. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, Jesus says, I revisited Youth Dude today and fell in love. The OG opium. I don't think they go bad. They change over time, says Unique Rivera. Um Perfumes can go bad. Sometimes they can go stale, but they don't have to. Some of them, if they're stored properly and they haven't kind of been in contact with some weird bacterias, uh, they can last for a very, 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 very long time. Very long time. I just unboxed last year a bottle of Chanel number 5 from the 60s, and it smells magnificent. Okay? And I mean, from the 60s. You guys, 70, 80, 90, what is it, over 50 years old? Unique says, I like oud in candles, not in fragrances. Yeah, yeah. Um, oh, interesting. Lauren Breen says, very true that Francis Kurjan's satin oud mood overkilled oud. And it's fascinating about Francis because, like, we often talk about this on my channel and we say, like, oh, he kind of tends to do better perfumes for others than for himself. And I know that Baccarat Rouge is like, everybody loves it. I cannot stand that perfume in any one of its concentrations. Baccarat Rouge, to me, is just such. I do not understand. I think at a certain point it got hyped with some influencers, and then everybody jumped on that bandwagon and started thinking, oh well, if they're using it, we gotta use it too. Oh my god, love it, love it, love it. And it's always like the weirdest people that never ever ever smelled really perfumes and never cared for perfumes all of a sudden start talking about how much they love Baccarat Rouge. And you're like, if you don't even care about perfumes, how would you even know to go to a niche perfume house to get a perfume? It's because somebody told you to. Because otherwise, you go to a regular perfume counter and you see your regular Dior's and your regular Chanel's, or you go for to your Calvin Klein's. Like that's what you get if you never ever think about perfume, but then you want to buy a perfume. And instead, a lot of these people, like, all of a sudden, like, oh, I never really wear perfume, but like I love Baccarat Rouge. I'm like, girl, why is everybody doing this? Oh, because the influencers told you to. Gotcha. Okay, boo. All right, all right. Coco Chanel says, I have this habit of dropping entire bottles of perfume at restaurants. Oh, you do, don't you, Coco? Yeah, yeah, we heard about that story. PJD says, yes, perfumes do go bad in some re-editions, lol. Ooh, the shade. Sometimes re-editions go really bad, or reformulations go really bad, but I repeat, there are exceptions. I love my modern day LouLou. Love it to bits. Or Lulu. Page D says, was anyone else slightly disappointed at the campaign for number one, Le Rouge? I feel like it could have been done better. Honestly, Dacob, your description of it sold me on it. Thank you so much, Paige. Yeah, it's a very bland advertisement. It's missing that 80s and 90s pizzazz. Yeah, it's very toned down, very bland. I know. But I don't care for Chanel advertisements since years now. I never even look at them. Like, I really don't care for them because they're that terrible and that boring. So I make it for me, how I feel it. So when it comes to Le Rouge, it has so much potential, so much potential. You could make an incredible advertisement out of this. But if you cared, they don't care. That bottom line. I feel like they don't care. It is my opinion that they don't care. Um, oh, Jackie26 asks, does anyone wear perfume to bed? Oh, hell yeah. I never go to bed without perfume. I never go to bed without perfume. Um, Miss Marie asks, I wonder if Chanel number 5 could have an oud version. They could. They could because I mean, Chanel number 5 has so many different ingredients. You could just yeah, you could do an oud version. It would be a very different perfume though. And I do believe that the oud would cheapen Chanel number 5 quite a bit. Hmm. 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 Julie Song, why is Baccarat Rouge so expensive? Is it worth it? It's expensive because it's niche. Some of the ingredients in there are supposed to be expensive, but ultimately it's because it's niche, girl. It's expensive because it's niche. Come on, let's be honest. Leanne Carter, how have you ever reviewed Le Dragon Noir? I tried it once and found it vile. No, I have not reviewed it. Sorry. Nope. I have not. Oh, Chanel asks, I love Coco in the chats. Is Virginie going to be dropping bottles? I don't think so. Oh, no, Virginie would never, Coco. She would never dare even try to make a perfume. Are you kidding me? She doesn't have your vision. Mm-mm. Virginie is a follower. She follows in the footsteps of creators. And she's good at that, but she's not a creator. Sorry, Virginie. Not sorry. Uh, Paige says, I hated the reformulation of Dior Miss Dior Cherie. I don't even want to try the newest reformulation as I've lost trust in their ability to do it right. Let's give Francis Kurjan a chance, you guys. Because I believe that it was Demachi who ruined a lot. So maybe Francis can fix stuff. If they allow him, they might not let him. You know? Um, Ollie says, Baccarat Rouge had its moment. I still enjoy for my corporate work, not so much my therapy work. I have faith in Francis Kurjan. Lauren says, I would love to smell Gucci Rush again. Literally the only perfume I wore in high school. Oh, it's great when they bring back good memories, right? Miss Marie says, Dacob, I just watched your review of Hypnotic Poison Eau de Parfum. What a great olfactory landscape indeed. Pardon me. The Eau de Parfum is amazing, but I do prefer the Eau de Toilette. But the Eau de Parfum, the vampire scent, is, oh, that cherry, that resinousy cough syrup cherries to die for. I'm Louis says, I've been wearing Halston to bed. It makes me feel. It makes me feel. It makes me fall asleep. Okay, I've been wearing Halston to bed. It makes me fall asleep in a good way. It soothes you. It calms you. Interesting, because Halston to me is it doesn't make me fall asleep. Quite the opposite. Um, Vanessa says, if I go to bed alone, I do use perfume. Well, if you use perfume, you're never alone in bed. That's what I say. You know what I mean? Lauren says, Dacob, have you ever gotten an oil or perfume that smells like petrichor? I love the smell of rain. So, well, petrichor is not the smell of rain, really. A petrichor is the smell that the alcohol emanated by the dead bacterias in the soil emanate when they get wet, and the water kicks them up, and the dust and all of these bacterias and the alcohol is in the air. So you're inhaling actually the dead bacterias, and they have a smell, and that's petrichor. It's monstrous, but it's one of the most beautifully nightmarish visions of a transformation of something terrifying visually into one of the most soothing smells in the world. And yes, to answer your question, oil no, but yes to perfume. I actually reviewed a perfume that has very much a memory of petrichor for me, and that would be Paris Edinburgh by Chanel, from the Les Eaux range by Chanel. That would be um, That would be the perfume that smells of petrichor to me. And I love the word petrichor. One of my favorite words ever is actually petrichor. And in that review of Paris Edinburgh, I also explain the roots and the symbology of petrichor, where it comes from Greek, and what it means. And even the meaning of petrichor is shockingly beautiful, terrifyingly beautiful, very poetic. So anyway, last comment, Pickle Mars, Baccarat Rouge reminds me of hydrogen peroxide. It doesn't agree with my skin oils. Yeah, to me, it don't work. It just don't work. Anyway, you guys. Oh, last one. What is the most deep gothic perfume? This is a good one, Miss Marie. What is the most gothic deep rose perfume you smelled? Come on, baby. You know it. Oh, I don't have it here. Damn. It's in the other room. Of course, it's next to my bed. Encens Mythique. The Mythical Incense by Guerlain. That is gothic. And there is a dead rose in there. The most gothic of them all. The most gothic of them all. I'm telling you. Hands down. Hands down. Rain on a Vinyl Coat, says Miss Marie. Anglomania perfume by Vivienne Westwood. Interesting. Letty says her favorites are LouLou, Addict, Poison, and Tom Ford's Velvet Orchid for winter. PJD says petrichor smell always reminds me of The Silence of the Lambs, early seasons of The X-Files. That opening scene of The Silence of the Lambs, where Jodie Foster, where Clarice is running through that wet forest where the rain had just fallen. You know, she's in training at her FBI headquarters or college or whatever, school. And she's running through that forest and everything is damp and wet and she has sweat stains all over her. That opening sequence of The Silence of the Lambs, to me, is also totally petrichor. Really, really very petrichor. Early seasons of X-Files, not so much so for me. But yeah, Silence of the Lambs, definitely. And Lauren says, thank you. And with that, I want to also say thank you, everybody, for tuning in and for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what your favorites are for winter. And until next time, thumb up this video, subscribe, and never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye.